Hey everybody, this is Chris Harrelson. I am a featured walker on The Walking Dead, and you're listening to Mark P42.
Welcome to Marku 42, one of the coolest, geekiest shows out there on the net. This is your host for the day, Eduardo M. Freyre, coming to you live from my slightly disheveled home office because I had to do some emergency repair work, but don't we all? Mark is out on assignment. I think he's trying to see if he can get Black Widow spoilers. Shame on you, Mark. But hey, it's Eduardo M. Freyre, and with me today is my beautiful co-host and wife.
Trish Freyre.
And how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Very cool. Also with us is
Juan in Orlando. It's raining so hard, I'm wondering if somebody's building an ark next door.
Ooh, okay. Well, I would see to make sure to get some tickets on that thing before things get too bad. Let's see. Also with us from Florida,
Design Quiros, and I wish I could just binge Loki.
Yeah, no kidding.
We all.
No kidding. I mean, yeah, I love the illusion of being able to, of like it being almost like a regular, show on regular TV where you got to do week to week. But there's also the part of me that it's like, I want to see more. But you know what? We're not.
3 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately today we're not talking Loki. We will be doing, of course, a full review once the series is done, complete with spoilers. But for today, we're actually going to do something special. Now, everybody remembers we've talked about, the Saturday morning cartoons we used to watch. We've talked about stuff we used to watch as a kid. We're kind of going to do another little nostalgia trip today. We're going to be talking about stuff we watched as a kid that was not the kiddie stuff. We're talking more adult, non-animated fare that we've watched. Now, I think it's important that we state before we get things going, when we mean adult, we're not talking, hey, back in the days of cable, I used to watch the Scrambled channel to see what I could get. No, we're not talking that. We're just talking that the show wasn't exactly meant for kids, that it was a bit more, I hate to use the term, but a little more mature, a little less, it might still be goofy, but, some jokes when we were little kids went over our heads, and things like that. So yeah, it's not that there was TNA and, content warnings. It's just, yeah, this wasn't something that you ate while eating cereal in front of the TV on a Saturday morning or before school. This was the stuff you watched either during or after dinner before mom and dad sent you up to bed because, yeah. Anyway, I think we're going to start with, you know what, Juan, I think we're going to have you get things started here.
Okay. Now, I was thinking about this because I guess I'll admit to it. When I first glanced at this topic, I thought what you were just joking about. But then I thought about it, and I thought about it hard. And the thing is, it's just like, I feel like when I was growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, and, into my teens in the 80s, I mean, the sitcom dominated a lot. And, and a lot of them were very frivolous. I mean, awkward coupling. Although you could have carried, I'll go into actually an example just popped into where that would be, where that could actually exalt to something higher. But I think two of the sitcoms that stand into mind as really being good were MASH and Barney Miller, which were both sitcoms which kind of took on serious issues of the day and, presented them to me probably earlier than I should have. I mean, stuff that I don't think these days in a modern sitcom you deal with such
PTSD,
hefty
yeah.
issues. I mean, I think you got the dramas, the modern dramas for that. Um, I mean, MASH, of course, is, tried to deal seriously with war and occasional medical issues, or of that
Yeah.
sort. So it's about a hospital set in the Korean War, for people who don't know about it. And Barney Miller's about a precinct in Manhattan. Some people say it's near Greenwich Village, and Barney, who's the captain of the detective force, tries to be a fair and a good cop and try to do the right thing and try to exercise good judgment and deal with the oddball characters that come in through his
Well, and can I just say that
Sure.
sure, I'm the host and you say sure. Oh, okay. All right. We're doing that, but and can I just say that Barney Miller also, I think one thing that's kind of cool is it had a great theme. Had some great theme music that dun 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 dun. I mean, come on, that's a great hook.
No, it's a good jazzy theme, and both shows actually kind of decided to end at some point. They decided to end it. They didn't wait. I mean, I think one of the bad things, and I think television in this era, it's more representative. What I'm about to say is more representative of old television right now, is that you keep making a product until it sucks. I mean, I think unfortunately that it was the old television model. You never had an end game. Just keep producing it until people want to stop watching it, which is kind of an insane, in my opinion, it seems like an insane business model, whereas I think nowadays, I think some people know where their end game is, at least a lot of the good shows, or they want to figure out what their end game is. And no, I'm not meaning they need to make an Avengers level thing. I just mean that they know how they're going to end their shows.
Yeah. So you mentioned two shows. Barney Miller and MASH. Are there any other that make your list as far as, the stuff that stuff that you watched when you were a kid that.
Well, one thing that came into mind when I was talking about, because I always remember that old Simpsons gang about Mismatch Couple series number 503 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was a good one.
One of the shows that worked at the time, which was that, and it's only because of the brilliance of its lead actor, who would, of course, go on to greatness, including an Academy Award, and that's, of course, Mork and Mindy. Because you had Robin Williams completely going nuts, and he was, and unfortunately, in some ways, he was nuts at that time in his life and his career. But I think it was brilliant.
Nuts, and I think there was a little
that's what you're probably going to bring up is what I mean, but I just want to
a little chemical. There was a little chemical help with that one.
But Robin was brilliant. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, that's why he went on to the bigger and better things. And although Robin, I think when Kevin Smith was producing Good Will Hunting, he asked Robin, is he tired of people calling him Mork all the time? He goes, and I think he had mixed feelings, but he goes, but that's going to happen because I was in people's houses, for 4 years, in their house. It's not like you go out into a movie and then you come back, it's kind of a thing from the outside. I mean, when you're on television, you just come into people's homes, and that, whatever that image of it is going to stick longer than, even if you're in films. Yeah. So I thought that was and that was kind of interesting, but I feel like, looking back on it, I feel like a lot of the sitcoms of my childhood were rather banal. I mean, the whole laugh track thing and stuff like that, and a lot of them, even the good, and even some of the good ones. Like I think we were talking on the show, you guys did a Cheers rewatch, and I hope I didn't blow one of your lists, but you even admitted, although a lot of it was still funny, and I liked Cheers, but I could, just thinking about Cheers, I could see where some of those things might not age well, such as Sam's. Oh God!
Libido.
I wanted to, Sam's. I was trying to find philandering, or Casanova.
Womanizing, yeah.
There you go. These days. Although Ted Danson's again a brilliant actor. I mean, The Good Place, which has dominated the Hugos for best dramatic presentation short form, I like. There's some people who don't get it and wonder why he keeps showing up on the ballot, but he's, in my opinion, Ted is so phenomenal in it. I mean, he just.
No, definitely.
Every scene he's in.
Yep, and that was another one that we did a binging of during COVID. So okay. Any other? Okay, so before I do want to get Zion's picks, but before we move on to him, any other picks, Swan?
Now that you make me think about it, I will defend something, and this came out in my teens, so it counts. And I don't know where it is in the big picture of history, but I believe that I would recommend to anyone, and I would defend the show, the '80s Twilight Zone, even though that the makers of the show, the people on the top, didn't want to do the morality tales of that Sterling did in the '60s. But I think they were looking more at thrillers or exciting stories to do. But what I did like about that show, in the 3 seasons they produced about it, they at least did try to buy some good science fiction short work. And in the first season, they had the sense to hire Harlan Ellison to not do certain stories. A friend of mine, who I think who had Harlan's news group, or read an interview saying that there were some ideas that they put out, and Harlan shut them down because it was either a really dumb idea, a hackneyed idea, and then would try to push them forward. And again, if it wasn't for network interference, they shut down Harlan trying to do an evil Santa Claus story which was already approved of, but it freaked out the network, and he was going to direct it, and they shut it down. He was going to adapt it and direct it. So it's just kind of shame they lost that. But I believe that show is not Rod Serling's Twilight Zone in the sense of the themes that Rod wanted to concentrate on. But I think that show deserves a good looking at, because if you want to see some well adapted science fiction stories from different eras, 40s, 50s, 60s, and maybe even the 70s, that's a good place to check out onto.
Okay. You know what? I think next on our discussion, you know what? Zion, as the youngest guy here, I
Yeah.
wanted to know what's on your list.
Well, you see, it's kind of hard because you kind of locked me in TV, and like when I was a kid, I was one of those goody two shoe kids who was satisfied with what I got, because my children's the TV was really, 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 really good. So I didn't have any quarrels about, like, okay, I I want to watch more adult stuff because this stuff is better.
Right.
But like,
Well, no, not
but
exactly.
like when it comes to more of the adult stuff, it's not towards more of TV, but towards more of like movies and like the internet. But I'm gonna try to stick to TV. So when I was like in like what, middle school, so like this why it makes it hard, because what's the age cap?
You know what? I'm gonna make it easy, and I'm surprised, Juan, that you didn't ask, but you know what? I'm gonna make this easy. The age cap really is I'm gonna say like around 17, 18, like still I'm gonna count the teen years as well.
Oh, okay.
So I
Okay.
mean, to make it easy, because yeah, I think if we stick with just with like just with like 10 or 12 or something, there's some good stuff that might go missing. So yeah.
Okay, then I have two.
Okay.
Um, and I'm gonna cheat on one of them because of the age cap. But each way.
Okay.
The first one was when I was in middle school, and it during my middle school years, like this was the point where anime was still not seen as the cool thing. So you had the small niche groups still talking about the weird animes coming out, and
Uh-huh.
so this was when like sixth grade, and so like everything was big on Naruto, and Naruto wasn't really that bloody or that violent or anything.
Right.
It's very contained, like 12-year-old shonen anime and whatnot. And
Yeah.
then one day my friends tell me, "Have you heard of Bleach?" I'm like, "What's Bleach?" And then they start telling me that this is like Quentin Tarantino type stuff of anime. Of course, like how middle schoolers over exaggerate stuff. It's like now you gotta see it.
Yeah.
And so at this point in my life, my parents was very protective of me, so I couldn't really watch
Hmm.
any adult stuff. I couldn't even watch wrestling, believe it or not.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was that bad. And so I couldn't watch Adult Swim by any means.
Ooh.
No Boondocks, no Squidbillies, no American Dad or anything. But they only showed Bleach on Adult Swim. So one day I literally got the coconuts to turn the volume down on one, wait till the time, stand by my TV and watch it there. And it was more of like I I know we are not talking about TNA, and it didn't really show any TNA because the first episode I saw was like a fight, but it was easily the bloodiest fight I've seen in like my entire life. And I was sitting there like, wow, so this is what they're hiding from us.
Yeah.
They're hiding
Um.
this type of good stuff, huh?
Okay.
And it's funny enough that after the episode, the show went on hiatus, and my friends blame me for that.
Actually, I remember that because I was watching Bleach at that same time, and they did go on hiatus.
It was Renji versus Byakuya. I'll never forget that because I was like, wow, that's a really cool snake. But yeah, but I'm gonna cheat on the other one, and it's kind of it was shown on TV, so it technically counts as a TV show, but I saw it only on the internet.
Okay.
And is this anime called Space Runaway Edeon, and I just got around to the actual series like 2 weeks ago. But I watched the end movie when I was like 14, and I only saw it because at this point I saw Ava, and they said that Be Invoked inspired the end of Ava, and the end of Ava left me with a lot of questions. So I was like, you know what? Let me see what inspired this, and I got literally land blasted by Oldest Death. And it wasn't just any off-screen normal, okay, you got cut in half deaths. It was apparently literally shooting in faces, kids' heads getting blown off type stuff. And like, I'm like, holy crap, this is an 80s cartoon. They did this in the 80s? Like,
Well,
it was
not 80s. I think it was more 90s, but yeah.
No. Are you talking about Ava or Space Runaway Edeon?
Space Runaway came out in 1980.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
1980.
okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
And so like it shocked me. It blew my mind because I'd never seen everyone in a show die, and literally everyone died. And I'm like, wow. I always took anime as shonen, but this really opened my eyes to like what this stuff is. And yes, it's just more stuff like that. But in terms of my experiences, those are like the really two big ones of like doing things I wasn't really supposed to.
Yeah.
Or like watching.
I gotta say one thing. I'm just taking a quick look at research. I mean, Space Runaway Edeon is also famously created and directed by Tomino, who is the creator of Mobile Suit Gundam. So that was a great pedigree.
Yep.
Yes.
You watched.
Yep.
He made that directly after he made the first Gundam.
Yeah, the time right. And Bleach was very big for its time too. I mean, it was one of I joke around because there's some people, at least in my anime circle, who don't like it because I joke around. There are 3 shows that shonen shows you had to pick at the time, and you would be a fan for it for life. And you had Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece, and people would choose one of the 3, and they would hate the other 2. So.
100%.
Oh geez. Now, Zion.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So you mentioned a couple of anime. Now here's the thing. Were there any like live action shows that kind of fell under that under the umbrella of what we're talking about?
Okay, since the age cap counts as 18, you can say Breaking Bad because I watched that.
Bad. Yep.
Yeah, I guess you can count that. But like when I watched it, I didn't feel any different about watching it. I feel like in high school I was already set and like desensitized by all my viewings. But in terms of like live action, not really TV, but movies, I can give one movie, and it's Pulp Fiction, and I watched that when I was like 13.
Whoa.
And Tour de Force, I kid you not, I can only describe that viewing as like a tsunami. It's a literal tsunami. It did not slow down. I was like, okay, wait, what's going on with her? Why are they poking down into her heart? Okay, why is the guy coming out the box?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot to
Wow.
take in
Okay,
when you
that-
were 13, but
You know what? It almost makes me wish we could get Tarantino on here, because I think he was. I think he would be interested to hear you describing watching Pulp Fiction for the first time as a tsunami.
oh my,
Wow. That
a literal tsunami.
is...
Okay, this guy's asking for burgers. Oh my God, why did he shoot all of them? And like it's just really, that movie's just really weird. Like it's just normal things, blah blah. Okay, Vincent is talking to the guy. Oh, he shot Marvin in the face. What? He shot Marvin in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, what do I do with all this information now?
Yeah. Well, and then of course you have the mystery of the briefcase, which is never really delved into. And I think Tarantino himself was like, whatever, what is in there, whatever you want to be. And it's like, okay, that, thank you, doesn't really answer that much, but thank you.
They say it's it is Marcellus' soul.
Yeah, I heard that theory. I did hear that theory. As far as TV, Breaking Bad, that's a good one. I got to admit, I never watched Breaking Bad. I think
Really?
Well, it's like I have to admit, there are some shows that I missed out on because there have been times in my adult life where I didn't have cable,
Mhm.
and I missed I missed the window. Like when Cartoon Network did Evangelion, I watched like the first few episodes, like the first handful of episodes, and then I moved. I moved to like a kind of converted garage apartment, and I didn't have cable, so I missed the rest of it. So it's like missed the end of the world. But yeah, I am familiar with I'm familiar with what went down with the show. So
Hey,
totally.
don't feel bad. I still haven't seen Breaking Bad, only because, like you, I felt I missed the window of it. And I just never got around to like binging the series.
Yeah,
It is really good. It's one of the best series I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. And hey, Bryan Cranston, went from being Malcolm's dad to being Heisenberg. So,
Speaking of which,
there's that.
I never got the connection until the last season when he put on hair.
Well, I don't know if this will blow you away, but Bryan Cranston, before Breaking Bad, also played James Gordon in the DC animated adaptation of Batman Year One.
Oh yeah, good job too. Really good job too. I remember there was a rumor going around that he could be Lex Luthor in a Superman movie, and I'm like, yes, do that.
He's really good.
Yeah, hell, I'll take him over. Jesse Eisenberg any day. But Trish, what do you think of some of the choices that we've talked about so far?
Well, a few of them are actually ones that I had picked, but that's okay. And
Thief. We have thieves.
Well, I've never seen Breaking Bad either, although everyone keeps telling me I need to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. What do you think? Should we try to check it out after our rewatch binge of Outlander?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's not. I mean, we'll we're missing handsome ginger Scotsman.
I would time that carefully, because I hear that series is gut wrenching. So I don't know if that's it's not a light show.
All right. You know what? That's all right. We'll keep that in mind, and I hope, Trish, you don't mind that Breaking Bad doesn't have any handsome ginger Scotsman. But I do think
I'll survive.
Yeah, and I do think there is one moment where Bryan Cranston's running around without any pants. So that will that be okay for you?
I'm sure I'll be fine.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, very cool. Okay, so we're gonna have to we're just gonna have to plan on that. So, and the other thing we'll have to plan on is, unfortunately, we do have to break for commercial because we're here on Odyssey Radio, but we will be back, and then Trish and I will take the floor with our picks. So, great chance, audience. Go grab yourself a snack. Go take a trip to the restroom if you need to, and we will be back. So stay tuned.
We'll be back with more of Mark Who 42's universe here on Odyssey Radio.
Ah, brave new world that has such putzes in it.
The Pull Bag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join me, your host, TFG Mike, and the rest of the GCRN crew as we make our way through the comics we are reading. Inside the Pull Bag, you'll also find back-issue classics and origins episodes of how we got into comic reading. You can find the Pull Bag every Wednesday on iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics and jump into the Pull Bag today.
Oh yes, but think of the fun.
Mark Who 42's universe has a deal for you. We've teamed up with Audible Books to get you a free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals for the first month of membership with Audible from Amazon. After that, it's only $14.99 per month for 3 audiobooks. There's no contract, and you can cancel anytime you like. Just go to your web browser and type in www.audibletrial.com/markwho42. Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/markwho42. You'll have hours of listening pleasure, but listen to us first.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's universe on Odyssey Radio.
Is it just me, or does she sound aggressive?
Open the pod doors, Mayhow.
Don't start that, Zion. Do not. Let's not give them any ideas. Hey, everybody! Welcome back to Mark Who 42 here on Odyssey Radio, and also on our new partners at Geekcast Radio Network and elsewhere out there on the webs, the internets. So, for those of you who are just joining us, and in this case, why are you late? You're going to stay behind. You're going to stay behind and write on the blackboard. We were talking adult TV shows we watched as a kid. With adult TV show, well, let's put a little disclaimer on that. What we mean is, stuff that wasn't specifically marketed for kids. Not exactly Saturday morning cartoon. So yeah, no, we're not talking about the time that you watched Real Sex 10 on HBO. No, this is not that kind of show. We're a family show. So stop thinking like that. Bad. Go sit in the corner. Anyway, we're going to start things off. You could hear me talk the entire time, but you know what? I'm going to be nice, especially because my beautiful wife Patricia's here. So we're going to start things off with her. So what is on your list?
Well, my number one show is actually probably my favorite show of all time. And that would be The Golden Girls.
Ooh, yeah.
I remember watching it when it first came on and not understanding it at all. Because all I knew it was about 4 old ladies living together in a house in Miami, and that the oldest one was funny because she would insult the other ones. That's really all I remembered. But I used to think it was so funny when she would insult it, but I never got any of the other jokes, never even dawned on me what they were really talking about until I was much older. And then I realized that it was about, women in their 50s and 60s, mostly talking about sex. And then it was like, oh, wow, I'm not surprised I didn't get this as a kid, but yeah. I started rewatching Golden Girls when I was a teenager, late teens, and I was just like, wow, this show is really funny, but boy, this show is really adult. Why did my mom let us watch this when we were kids? Probably because she just knew that the jokes were going to go over our heads anyway. It didn't matter, and she liked watching it, so yeah, why not?
Okay, well, there we go. Hey.
So yeah, that it's still one of my favorite shows. I still will watch reruns if I catch them on. I have all the DVDs of all of them, and I think you can watch all of them on Hulu as well. But really funny show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Another one on my list was Magnum PI. My mom loved that show, so we would watch it, and there was I just remember the action, that it was a lot of car chases and
You
things
were
like
in it just for the action?
Yeah, I don't really
Sure.
remember it too much. I remember some of it, and I just remember, the whole thing of, is Higgins Robin Masters or not? I remember that was the big thing. What did Robin Masters look like? And we never got to find out. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
But now here's my question. You said you were just in it for the action. Are you sure? Are you sure you weren't in it for some of that Tom Selleck mustache?
No, because well, here's the thing. My dad had a mustache, and so everyone that I knew that had a mustache was, was like, oh, it's like my dad. So it was, yeah, no. Tom Selleck could have been my dad.
Okay.
There was nothing.
Okay, all
like
right,
that,
all right, all right. Which, wow, hey, good. Okay, but yeah, no, my dad never did the mustache. He was full beard or no beard, and mainly full beard because, yeah, he said he didn't look good without it. So yeah, so yeah, nope, not attracted to them. What about your mom? Was she all about?
Oh, she was all about Tom Selleck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, to the point that my dad was actually a little bit jealous. Yeah, he didn't call it Magnum PI. He called it Maggot PU. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is. Oh man, that is awesome. Wow. Wow.
I don't know if this is a trivial bit, but it's an interesting bit. I mean, that was created by Don Belisarius, Belisario. His company's name Belisarius, but he later went on to create Quantum Leap, and I think
Say no more. Say no more.
See some overlap with actors and writers of the same.
Say no more, Juan. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit. You'll see. Okay, so you know what? Let's make your dad happy, Trish. What's next on the list?
Well, along the same island type vibe was Fantasy Island. I used to love watching Fantasy Island.
Yes.
However, I remember that Mr. Rourke scared the crap out of me as a kid. Because I knew that it was him creating all this stuff, and then there was the one episode where he was like the devil. He was playing like the devil, and I just remember that scared the hell out of me as a kid.
Trish, I can correct that. He didn't play the devil. He was fighting against the devil. The devil was played by Roddy McDowall. At least that's how I remember the episode.
I remember that episode, but wasn't there an episode where he was like evil or something, or am I just remembering it wrong?
To be honest, I don't remember that episode, but I can't say I watched every show. It could have happened.
Maybe I'm just thinking of.
I definitely do remember Roddy McDowall because he actually dressed the opposite of Mr. Rourke, whereas Rourke has a white jacket, he has a black jacket and black shirt and a white tie, so he's the opposite of Mr.
See,
Rourke.
and I remember that episode because I found one station that was actually on, I think it was on Pluto TV. They were playing Fantasy Island, and for a while there we were watching them because I'm like, oh, I haven't seen these since.
I don't think it was. Was it Pluto TV or was it one of the regular cable channels?
I don't remember.
Or
but
MeTV.
Yeah.
It wasn't MeTV. I know it wasn't MeTV. I think it was like whatever. Oh, geez, whatever. What's Family Channel known as right now? It's Freeform, right? Family Channel is now Freeform. Yeah, I think it was like Freeform or something. Yeah, we were just. It was like a summer where we binged that. But yeah, I remember the Roddy McDowall episode. I don't remember any of the Mr. Rourke being the evil one. I do remember they had. Was it Lyle Wagner as the god Pan?
I don't remember.
It was no, it wasn't Lyle Wagner. It was he passed away recently. The guy who played Felix Leiter twice in James Bond.
David Hennessy?
Yes, it was him as I think as the god Pan, and you actually had some a couple of times where he was going wild with his powers. They would superimpose like a goat head or something. It was very freaky.
Well, anyway, all I know is that I remember Mr. Rourke scared me because it seemed like he had all the power, and he controlled everything. So, in my mind, I thought that anything evil or bad that happened had to have been his fault. So, yeah.
I'm curious, did that affect your watching of Wrath of Khan? Did you see it in the theaters?
I did not see it in the theaters, but my dad was obsessed with Star Trek. So we would we watched that movie a lot, and it did. Maybe that's why. Maybe I connected Mr. Rourke with Khan, and it, yeah, maybe that's why. Because oh yeah, that movie used to scare the heck out of me too.
Well, there's the ear thing.
That's the thing that scared me the most, the ear thing.
These little pets, my little pets. Yeah. All right. What else? Getting away from ear trauma.
Yep. Well, these two have already been mentioned, but MASH and Cheers, both of those, I watched those. I remember watching the finale of MASH, and I was really young when that came on, like really young, but I still remember watching it. And then the reruns, watched those when I got older, and it's a really good show. It's a lot more lighthearted comedy in the beginning, and then it just became more and more serious as the years went by. And I just read up on it. It was more when Alan Alda kind of took over, and he directed a lot of the episodes and things, and he wanted to take it more into a serious area, and so that's why a lot of the later seasons were a lot more serious. And that's a lot of people weren't really very happy with that. But
isn't Billy one of those? Like, isn't your brother like one of those that's not a fan of the serious take?
I don't know, maybe, but
I don't know, because I seem to think like we come upon MASH, like we'd be watching TV, we'd come upon MASH, and Billy's like, uh-oh, this is one of the serious ones. Just kind of do like an eye roll. It's like,
well, even that last episode has a lot of seriousness. I mean,
oof, the bus.
Stuff, the bus.
The bus. Yep, the bus.
Yeah,
one of the interesting things about MASH is that when they did do a serious episode, they would usually turn off the laugh track.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, I never noticed this until I read it in Wikipedia. Apparently, there was never a laugh track when they were doing an OR scene. The OR, there was not going to be jokes, laughs in the OR, which I think is appropriate.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
But
what about
the last one I had on my list was one that came out a little bit later in the 80s, but that was also more geared towards adults. And that was Roseanne. Another one of my favorite shows that I could rewatch over and over and still do. But yeah, it was a different show because it wasn't like other shows that were on at the time. They didn't have the perfect house, it wasn't clean, it wasn't, they weren't rich. It showed what a more typical family in America looked like, and their struggles and stuff. And so, I mean, it was definitely more adult with a lot of comedy thrown in. But it also got a little bit more serious as time went on as well. But mainly comedy. Now the kind of reboot, The Conners, that's on right now, I have a real hard time with that. It's like I want to like it, but at the same time it's super serious, and there's not as much comedy in there as there should be, and sometimes I find it really hard to watch. So I'd rather watch the reruns of Roseanne.
Yeah.
I always feel weird when they come back to a show after so much time has passed. I wonder what the point is anymore. And I wasn't even really into Roseanne, but I'm going, really? I mean,
well, they're banking on people's love of nostalgia, which there's a lot of people that love nostalgia, some don't, but I mean, that's really what they're banking on, and they just I mean, they're supposed to be bringing back Frasier,
Yeah. How are they going to do it without John Mahoney though? I mean, not having.
I heard they want to bring back Home Improvement as well.
Can't do it without Wilson.
Well, they can.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose they can, but I don't know. It's like they'd have to find something really. They'd have to find someone that really,
Well, wait. I didn't know the actor who played Wilson died. I didn't watch the show, but I knew how it worked.
Yeah, he passed away like a couple of years ago, didn't he?
He's passed away a while ago, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt the joke since you didn't see a lot of his face. I thought you could actually replace him and nobody would care. I mean, I apologize if that sounds too cynical, but I never really got into that show. I just found Tim's, I found Tim really irritating, and I still do to this day, and it just drives me mad. I admit I'm an outlier, I guess. Like him in Toy
That's
Story.
And in Galaxy Quest. Yeah. Definitely Galaxy Quest.
My relationship with Galaxy Quest is complicated and would involve a whole
Okay.
show.
All right. You know what? Okay, then I would say write your feelings down, and maybe that'll be a future show. Juan and Galaxy Quest, a love-hate relationship. Coming soon to Marco 42. Yeah. As for is that your whole list, Trish?
Yep, that's my list.
Okay. I wasn't sure, especially because we have a thief in here that stole two of your choices. But
Sorry about that, Trish.
That's okay. Didn't know.
You're fine. For me, let's see. For me, I think my first on my list, it's something that I think everybody here will be like, yep, awesome show, still awesome show. For me, the first on my list is Star Trek Next Generation. I mean, I still remember when my dad and I stumbled onto the pilot episode, Encounter at Farpoint. We were just like, wait a minute, this is Star Trek. This is new. This is a new crew. Holy cow.
Wait. Eduardo, you completely missed the marketing campaign. I mean, they did try to get the word out there. I'm just kind of surprised you guys
you know what? I
randomly caught it.
We somehow missed the marketing campaign.
Were you living in Miami? I was too, and then again, I was also reading Starlog. I mean, it was on Entertainment Tonight. It was getting a lot of publicity.
I didn't watch. Okay, I didn't read Starlog. I would watch Entertainment Tonight, but I must have missed it. And at the time, I wasn't living in Miami. I was living in Midland, Michigan. So that may have caused that may have been part of it. But I do remember coming. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my dad caught some of the marketing. So him acting surprised was more him trying to get me interested. But I do remember I caught Encounter at Farpoint. I was just like, whoa, holy cow, this is awesome. I mean, it is. I will say it is one of those things that you kind of watching nowadays, and also knowing what we know about how Roddenberry ran things and things like that. You do kind of watch. You do get some more stuff in a rewatch, but at the time, just having new Star Trek, especially because it came like within a year of Star Trek 4, one of the best Star Trek movies. It was just great. It was just awesome having that. And I'm still a fan. And hey, it's what gave us Patrick Stewart. So it even with any of the flaws that we now know of as adults, come on, anything that gives us Patrick Stewart. And plus, hey, it was great seeing LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow.
Well, I would say it raised our awareness of Patrick Stewart and LeVar Burton, because they were already. I mean, Patrick was kind of a star in Britain, the Royal Shakespeare Company. He was in I, Claudius, and he was in Dune, and I believe, Excalibur. So
he's in Excalibur. Yep.
I mean, obviously, you come over here, and LeVar Burton, of course, was Kunta Kinte in Roots, which was an epic of the 70s.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't watch Roots back in back when it first came out, but I was familiar with LeVar from Reading Rainbow. So, for me, it was like, that's the Reading Rainbow guy, and what the heck is with the eyes? Oh, he's blind. Oh, okay.
He's not playing Cyclops.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Coming from someone that was born in the 90s, right? Looking back at the beginning of TNG, doesn't it still count, at least from my point of view, as a kid show? Because like it had no shortage of like toy sales and such.
Not really. Like it wasn't really marked. Like it had its toy tie-ins and things like that, but it really wasn't marketed as a kids show. It was marketed, as a sci-fi show. It was marketed as like the continuation of the Trek style.
I think they were looking for a young audience, because they did keep it on, at least in Miami, and I think in other cities. I think it was on at 7 or 8 o'clock, or around a lot of times. Yeah. I mean, if they really, and that might have limited it, because if you went for 9 o'clock, I think you could shoot for maybe doing some more quote unquote adult topics or serious topics.
moving on, I think. That's actually a good point, Juan. But moving on with my list, because I've only gotten one show down. I think, because hey, we're all about time travel on this show. My second choice is Quantum Leap. Okay, I think I've gone on record as saying I hate the ending. That was the worst series ending you could do. But the show itself, I still, I can still enjoy episodes as long as I'm not watching that final episode. I thought it was kind of cool. I like how unique the time travel was, and plus, just the, kind of the fun of seeing, seeing Sam Beckett, just seeing Scott Bakula, having to, when he would leap into like a woman's body and you have to see Scott Bakula in a dress. I think there was one where he was like a contestant in a beauty pageant, so he's running around looking like Carmen Miranda. And Juan, I know I told you to put like a pause button on your Magnum PI Belisario thoughts, because there is talk about how there was once going to be a crossover between Quantum Leap and Magnum PI, which would have had Sam Beckett in the body of Thomas Magnum, which I'm sorry that episode never got off the ground. Because we're talking, Timothy Westfield type of crossover here, in world building, and I'm just sorry they never got to do it. I'm sorry for whatever reason things just didn't work out. Because that would have been a great episode. I don't know. What do you? Quick thoughts. What do you think, Juan?
Oh no, I think I remember rumors of that episode, and I think it was a brave idea. I wasn't I respected Magnum. I was not a big fan. I would catch the occasional episode. I think they tried to do some innovative stuff or funny stuff every now and then. So I think that would have been a marvelous idea. I think the show did try to do some experiments with the format. One of the reasons Belisarius did the episode with Lee Harvey Oswald was not only in response to JFK, which had just come out, but Belisarius actually met Lee Harvey Oswald when he was a Marine, when they were both Marines stationed in the same place, and he just realized that this guy later went on to kill the president. So, in fact, if you take a look at the episode of Oswald, there's a scene where Belisarius, you can see on his uniform, the name Belisarius is quite, and if you look at the credits, the actor is credited as being Sergeant Belisarius, where he does a scene where I assume he recreated one of the times he saw Oswald on base.
Yep. That is cool. Moving on. Two things that I really want to mention. A-Team and Knight Rider. Those were my jams back when I was a kid. And both of them, I just have to admit, both of them, I was mentioning, the hook with Barney Miller earlier. Both of them had great hooks in the theme songs. And, something like Knight Rider, growing up, who wouldn't want a talking car? Hell, Trish, what do you think? If we had a kid in our car, that would make the trips to Eureka something, wouldn't it? That would make it easy, wouldn't it? Yeah. If you want to take a nap, I'll just take control. But and I think my final, we're running low on time, but my final, Beauty and the Beast, the series with Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman, it went off the rails in the final season, but it was just so cool. And hey, it got me, it really woke me up to Ron Perlman, which much like Next Gen, it's always a good thing. So,
and also, quick trivia: George R. R. Martin also wrote for that show.
Yep, and it's weird, but violence or incest. What? I guess this is young George R. R. Martin before he discovered all that. But anyway, on that happy note, here on Odyssey Radio, we're out of time. Oh no, because man, we could go on forever. But you know what? Good news though, guys. If you go to the Geekcast Radio Network, we're gonna have some extra stuff. Hey everybody, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, we're not on Odyssey Radio now. This is Marku42 on Geekcast Radio Network. And we're going to keep our discussion going. We were talking about shows that adult or more mature, non-Saturday morning cartoon shows that we watched when we were kids. But you know what? I'm going to go off on like a little bit. I'm going to kind of change the script a bit. now that we're not on the radios, I want to hear the shows that you couldn't watch as a kid. I'm talking about you saw, you were watching your nighttime TV, and then, the clock struck 9 o'clock, and the parents were like, okay, bedtime. So who would like to go first?
Let me get it out of the way.
Volunteers.
I don't remember that being an issue. There were some shows that they felt were a little bit too adult. So, but it was just kind of like, change a channel. And there was probably something else to distract me at that time, but nothing in
Really?
particular.
Okay, so it wasn't like, okay, bedtime, mommy and daddy need their big people shows, so time for Juan to get in the bathtub and brush the teeth, put on the PJs.
I don't remember that
None of
happening.
that?
I mean, I did respect whatever the bedtime. I would actually ask if there was something I really wanted to watch, but it was usually either science fiction or science related, because I think they put Cosmos at 9 o'clock, which was a PBS show with Carl Sagan. If for those of you who don't remember it or don't know about it. So I think after that I got
billions and billions of stars.
I think after that I got like a 10 o'clock bedtime. So whatever that happened. And then in my teens, I think it was usually around 10 or 11 o'clock. I mean,
dang it. I should have been at your house. What about you, Zion?
I don't really know, really. Not really. Most of that category always pertain to movies. Like, I couldn't watch Watchmen, even though I knew nothing about it, but it interested the hell out of me. I couldn't watch Wanted. I couldn't watch 300.
You know what?
And
I think with Watchmen, Zion, I think your parents did you a favor because the graphic novel is just so much better.
No, because as soon as it hit on DVD, I faked sick, and along with 300. I said, okay, so this is
man,
this is the day. I'm gonna win now, and I watched it and said, okay, now I need to read the comic, and yeah,
man.
Because like
jeez. Well, you know what?
And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. But then I went online and saw, wait, there was a giant squid monster at the end. Now I have to read it.
I love it.
The funny part is they took the squid monster out of the feature, but put it back in the television show.
I'm just kind of picturing that your parents are going to hear this episode, Zion, and you're going to get a phone call. You're going to be like, "What were you doing renting these DVDs behind our back?"
Hey,
sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Quiros. Sorry, it wasn't our fault. I didn't know, Zion, when this happened.
Someone did it. Someone went to the good old Blockbuster.
It wasn't me. Oh, jeez. Trish, what was it for you? What was your this is mommy and daddy's watch time, go to bed?
Well, I remember hearing the theme song to Dallas coming from the living room when we were in bed. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Dallas Dynasty, Falcon's Crest, all that stuff. I never saw an episode of any of those.
So wait a minute, you guys didn't get extended bedtimes on days that weren't school nights? Or maybe that's an older kid thing and that I don't remember.
I don't remember if we did. I don't remember.
I never really had a specified bedtime. I just went to bed when acceptable.
When we got older, our rule was my mom's rule was always like, you can stay up as late as you want as long as you can get yourself up in the morning and get ready for school. She said, as soon as you can't get up, then you'll have a bedtime.
Yeah, no. When I was really little, it was like 9:30, and then as I got older, it was like, okay, you want to stay. It's like there was stuff that my parents watched that it was like, no, you can't watch this. You have to go to your room. If you want to be up, that's fine, but come 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever, you're getting up. Like, that was the rule. But I did. I was like you, Trish. The shows like Dynasty, Dallas, things like that. Hill Street Blues. as I got a little older, NYPD Blue, those shows, it was like, yeah, mommy and daddy are watching that. The minute that comes on, it's like, you do what you need to do. You do what you need to do. You're not watching this. I actually remember one of the memories, that I have growing up. This was like mid '80s. Is that Fridays? Fridays would get Chinese food. I would get McDonald's, and what would happen is we would watch Next Generation, Beauty and the Beast, and then my parents watched Miami Vice. So that's when I had to leave the room. So as soon as things were over with Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton, I was out of there. But it was the same deal. It was, go play in your room. You're fine. You're just not watching Miami Vice.
Yeah, it was in my early teens at that point, and I think that's where, and particularly since it was a Friday night.
But yeah, I just remember being a 9 o'clock show. I'll say this, for all the episodes of Miami Vice that I missed, at least I saw the opening theme a bunch of times. So I did get that awesome opening theme by Jan Hammer.
Oh, wait a minute. Were you watching it in Michigan?
Michigan and Miami.
Okay, no, Michigan would have been an hour behind, so I think it was a 10 o'clock show. That's my memory of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I am trying to connect with all these examples, but I think I'm trying to actually realize that is the generational gap, because correct me if I'm wrong, but all this TV time is around one center TV at a certain time, right? Where the whole family just gathers together over the living room TV, and then you watch the shows, and then that's it. Because when I was growing up, we had multiple TVs, so whenever someone was watching something, I could just go to a different TV upstairs. And
I was in a multiple TV house, so it depended on who wanted to watch what. So yeah, that's exactly what happened with me. So I mean,
yes, I know you're right. Most people from our generation had just one TV in their house, and everybody would gather together to watch the same shows. So yeah, it's a generational thing. You're totally right.
Yeah, I think we had just one big TV, and then by the time I was in my teens, there was the TV in my parents' room. I had a TV in my room, and then we had the big TV. So it was a little easier for everybody to have their own thing to watch.
Yeah, I did have a couple shows that we weren't allowed to watch. My parents just decided that, no, you guys aren't watching those. They didn't like the theme of it, or just stuff that happened. Surprisingly enough, one of them was The Simpsons.
Wow.
We weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons for at least the first couple of years it was on, and then I think my brother just started watching it, in his room. Regardless of that's when we started we ended up getting a TV in my room, a TV in my brother's room, and then I think he just watched whatever he wanted to when he was back there. We also weren't allowed to watch Married with Children. My mom didn't like that show at all. She wouldn't let us watch it, and to this day, I think
that's more. Yeah, I think that's more. I think I can understand Married with Children more than The Simpsons.
Yeah, and that was that's an interesting thing, because it was a risque show, but they put it on at 9 o'clock. Although Fox at that time, I don't think had access to the 10 o'clock hour. What was kind of weird was it was actually kind of more risque in its early part, and then it just became really over the top vaudeville in later years after Steve left. The character Steve, Marcy's husband, it just went wild.
The Simpsons thing, I just remember when there was this whole national outcry against Bart Simpson, with him saying, underachiever and proud of it. That was a huge controversy, and all of a sudden all these religious groups were all anti-Simpsons and everything like that. And that's when my mom was like, okay, you guys aren't allowed to watch this, because we had been watching it, and we had, we'd even been watching the shorts on the Tracy Ullman show before it even became its own show. So then it was just all of a sudden, oh, now we're not allowed to watch it. And it was mainly because the church my mom went to said that we should not be letting our children watch the show, because it promotes bad morals and things. When we got older, then my mom let my brothers watch. So go figure there. South Park makes makes the
Oh my
Simpsons
goodness.
look like
Yeah.
you
No,
know
I
like
you,
Teletubbies or something.
I do remember there was a speech. There was a speech by President Bush Senior, and one of the things he said was we need American families to be more like the Waltons and less like the Simpsons.
Ah,
And they actually parodied that. They made fun of that in I think a commercial to promote the show, where it's the clip of President Bush, giving that part of the speech, and the Simpsons are watching it, and Bart turns to his parents and goes, "Hey, we're just like the Waltons. We're waiting for the Depression to end." So yeah, they threw shade at that.
Yeah, it's kind of actually weird because the show had only been barely on for a year or two. I mean, so I don't, and there weren't too many episodes on it. So I'm kind of surprised people. And the thing is, Bart wasn't being so moral. I mean, he was just being a wise ass. I mean, like he says, I'm this generation's Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
I don't think they had really dealt. And then again, I think in a second or third season episode, they did an episode where Marge went up against Itchy and Scratchy and had fun with that, getting back at their detractors at the time. But Trish, I'm kind of curious because you said your parents were into Dallas. Were they into Dynasty too?
oh yeah, they watched both of them, and I think Falcon's Crest too. But I think they've not that one not so much.
And it was also forbidden for the kiddies to see Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, no, we got sent to bed. I'm not sure if it was because they didn't want us to watch it or if it's just because it was on late.
Well, it was on at 9:00. That I remember. It was a 9:00 show. I mean, I'm sorry I'm talking all this time, but it used to be that depending on what time slot your show was on, that depended on how risque, like at 7 to 8:00, stuff more for the youngsters, and then 9:00 you could go a little nuts. In fact, I was listening to a show, another podcast called Glorious Trexperts, where they talked to a guy who got to look at all of Gene Roddenberry's notes and the notes that he got from the network. And Star Trek the original Trek never had to worry about being too adult or too scary because they were on at 8:30, 9:00. So they were, so they didn't have those kind of notes. They had other kinds of notes, which Gene didn't care too much for. I think in Lost in Space was on earlier at the time, and what are the notes? Irwin Allen did all the notes that the network said. If the network said something, he would say, "Okay, I'll do it," and it'll keep you guys happy and keep you buying my show. And like one of the things that goes, this Dr. Swift guy is trying to mercilessly kill our family. Can we tone that down a bit and do something with the robot? And he goes, "Yeah, sure." And that's what he also got when he was doing Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. The network said, "Hey, the show is doing okay, but we really get a spike in ratings when you have a monster. Can you put on more monsters on your show?" And he goes, "Do you mind if I reuse them on my other shows?" He goes, "And we don't care." Wow. That I put in, but he did do that. He did reuse monsters on his other shows. So, and he did it, and they kept the network happy. And
did he reuse the carrot monster?
I think he would have tried, but the thing is, I think by the time that was the last season of Lost in Space, and I think Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea had gone away, so I don't think he could have. I don't think a carrot monster would have functioned in Land of the Giants, which was the only show that was on at the time, only one of his shows on at the time, post Lost in Space.
I don't know if you really want to use a carrot monster. You will find a way.
Well, the thing is that he stopped making TV shows, or he never got another series after Land of the Giants. So after that, he went. I think he went to movies. He did try to bring back a version of the Time Tunnel, I think, and I think he did. I think he did a show about Captain Nemo. I could be wrong about that. In the 80s, it was like 3 episodes, and nobody cared.
Ow. Ouch.
To flip the question a little bit, was there any kids shows that your parents didn't like you to watch?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh, yeah, that is a good one.
Because I had a lot.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think there was anything on Saturday morning or cartoons that they really rejected. I mean, actually, the only show I was talking about this with my brother recently. It did bother my mother that I was watching a soap opera, but the soap opera I was watching was they had finally syndicated Dark Shadows, so I was watching that only because there was a vampire in it. I did admit later on in life, and this is probably in my junior high and high school years during school breaks, I might catch Days of Our Lives because I had a crush on Christine Alfonso. I don't know if any of you
Ooh.
guys know who that is.
I know who she is. Yeah.
But what didn't you get to see, Zion? I'm kind of curious.
Well, I ain't got to see a lot of things. It's just that my mom interjected to a lot of things. Like she didn't like Dragon Ball Z because it was too violent. She didn't like Ed and Eddie because they were too much of bad role models. She didn't like Courage because it taught animal cruelty, even though I never thought about that and I never took it as that.
Animal cruelty? What?
They never did anything bad to Courage. I only saw a few
Yes,
episodes.
Yes, they did. They used to beat Courage up sometimes. Because there's this episode where he went against a robot dog that was made by the Asian man, and Courage got messed up that episode. But and there's a bit of other episodes kind of like that. But
oh, wait. Zion, on a follow-up, how old were you when you saw that episode of Bleach? I'm just kind of curious, and then there'll be a follow-up question.
That I was in 7th grade, so I'd say about.
So you'd have been 12 or 13, am I right?
12, 13, yeah.
Okay. No, the reason I asked that is because, again, Adult Swim, that show was on Saturday night, and it's like unless your parents are afraid you wouldn't get up for church or whatever you do on Sunday morning, I should say, I mean, yeah, no, I thought after a certain age, you got a little bit more because it wasn't a school night. So you could, go a little crazy.
No, there was no like real bedtime. Like if I was just sitting in my room playing PS2, then I'm pretty sure that she'd just move on. But like if she ever saw me like watching Adult Swim and said it was Adult Swim, then it couldn't be on the TV. And I always found that weird because like it kind of just stopped, and it just never came back. But yeah, there was a point where like everything that I watched was like regulated.
Oh, hey, wait.
Yeah.
When you said that Bleach went on hiatus, was that the time they replaced it with Death Note?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And then I watched Death Note, and that was amazing.
Which I think was a little bit more risque. I think that was a more risque show to put on.
Yes,
than Bleach.
It really was. In terms of theme, yes.
Guys, I should point out we do have a non-anime fan in the room.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never knew that, Trish.
Well, no, Trish is not an anime person. I have shown her a few Miyazaki movies, but yeah, she's not a big anime person. Although I gotta say, I am thinking of exposing her to Cowboy Bebop. So
that's another one. Does
you might want to
as an adult show?
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Zion?
Does that count as an adult show?
Bebop?
Yes, because I watched that when I was like 12 as well.
Well, personally, to me, I think that's appropriate for a 12-year-old. I mean, but
yeah, I mean, okay, well, yeah, I mean, there are some things that should be okay for 12. Faye walking in on a couple having sex, yeah, that might not be okay.
And that's the exact scene where my mom walks in. Any other scene, forget it. But that exact scene is when she opens the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you want to have a laugh, Zion?
Okay.
That moment, that moment in the episode where Faye walks in on a couple having sex. I know that when it showed up on Cartoon Network, they actually edited that scene. They took one half of the couple out, so all you see is the guy kind of on his hands in the bed with Faye pointing the gun at him. But this is the thing. This is the thing, though. No, here's where we get to the funny part. If you look and you pause at the right time, there's like an overhead shot. They did not edit out the feet of the other person.
Oh, wow.
So you can see the other person's feet but not like the rest of the body. So it was just, it's like, okay, somebody in the editing room was not paying attention. But
Oh,
yeah,
funny.
that's yeah.
So I wonder if like when they reran it on Toonami, because I think when Toonami came back, I think they were a little bit more liberal, and not to mention it's always after 11 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
and wait a minute, Zion, you couldn't record it. You couldn't record Bleach or Death Note. You had to watch it live.
Yes.
No VCR.
Well, the DVR was downstairs, and I could only watch Bleach and Adult Swim in my room.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Dang it.
Good times
it.
though. I miss getting up to watch things at a certain time. DVR has spoiled me.
Yeah. Yep. DVR and streaming and all that. Yeah. It's just like Disney right now has the Bad Batch, and it's like, oh, I can, I think we've been watching it like in the evenings, like after we get back from grocery shopping and dinner, right?
Yeah.
But the Bad Batch is relatively clean. I mean, it's PG-13
Yeah,
at best.
no, but what I'm saying is that, in terms of Zion being like, oh, how streaming and DVR have spoiled him, it's like, yeah, we could, the fact that Trish and I can go run errands and have and have food, and then just be able to get back, catch the show, and not be like, whoa, we gotta like get our errands done because we gotta be back by like 8 o'clock to catch the Bad Batch. Like
Did you guys catch the last episode, the one that dropped yesterday?
Yes, and no spoilers, because that's another one of those shows let's cover like on the show. But yeah, caught the episode, and I see that it did not take them as long as I thought to answer one of the series' biggest questions. And I was quite frankly surprised. I'm like, oh, so that's what's going on. And they're answering that now? And I was just surprised because I was expecting it to take longer.
Oh no, I was just curious, and I don't think this is a spoiler. I don't know if back in the day, and maybe I think we're better off if it's true. I'm kind of curious if people would react badly as the fact that Omega is in danger, is in real scary danger most of the time in that episode. And I noticed because I don't know how old Omega is supposed to be. I'm assuming she's at least 10.
Yeah,
and
I think
she's running around being chased by Cad and Phoenix, surprisingly, although I think she'd be better off in Phoenix's hand than Cad's.
Yeah, no, and I have my own like thoughts on that, which I want to kind of keep until we actually do like a full-blown review. But yeah, I would say that she is probably, I wouldn't be surprised if she is if Omega is a couple of years younger than Boba is supposed to be at this time. Because I know, how old was Boba in Attack of the Clones?
Oh, he was actually quite up there. In fact, in the Clone Wars, they have him as a young adult. I mean, they actually have him in prison. I forget they did an episode where Obi-Wan disguised himself as a criminal to go to a prison to infiltrate it for whatever the mission was. And that was for a series of episodes. I think that was for a whole arc.
Yeah.
And so he did, and he met Boba in prison. I think Cad might have been in that prison too.
And Bosk.
Bosk is that old? Yeesh.
Yes.
Yeesh.
Yeah, they did do an episode I remember with Bosk. I think
is it a Bosk or Dengar? I don't remember.
Well, Bosk is the reptile.
Might be Dengar, yeah.
No, I don't think Dengar was in the Clone Wars. Because I would have remembered Bosk. I think there was an episode where I thought Bosk was kind of doing a thing where I think he was hunting down Chewbacca or a Wookiee. I'm not sure about that, but I know that they did do an episode with somebody from Bosk's race.
With at least, if not Bosk, then another Trandoshan, is what you're saying. Hey, talk of Wookiee pelts and bounty hunter lizards. That seems like a good place to kind of wrap this part up. Once again, I'm Eduardo M. Freyre, here with Juan Sanmiguel, my wonderful wife, Patricia Freyre, Zion Quiros. You know what? Join us next time. Remember, you can always hear us on Odyssey Radio, and we always have this little extra bits that we do for, for our listeners once the Odyssey Radio show is done. So hey, just like us on Facebook, and everybody be good to each other out there.
I just want to say thank you for listening to Mark Who 42's Universe. If you enjoyed our show, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. You can also write to us with show suggestions and comments by writing us an email at markwho42s.universe@gmail.com. Don't forget to join our Facebook page, Mark Who 42's Universe. And also, we have a website with all our old Odyssey shows at markwho42.com. Until next week, for myself, Mark Baumgarten, for Tricia Freyre, Eduardo M. Freyre, Juan Sanmiguel, and Zion Quiros, so long. Mark Who 42's Universe, copyright 2021.